we'll move on to the next question, which is about the possible Olympic Stadium ground share.
Yes.
And it's in the name of Assembly Member Boff.
Thanks, Andrew. And I know this is something on which you feel strongly, but we haven't, I must say, had an approach from any other football club to share the stadium with West Ham. Because of the rules of the Premiership, I think we'd have to be pretty clever to work out a way of actually allowing two Premiership clubs to share it. I'm not certain it would work. But we're about to appoint an operator for the stadium, and their job will be to maximise revenue and to get the best possible deal for London. And I want to see all sorts of things in that stadium, not just Premiership football, but athletics, rugby, all sorts of stuff as well. And rock concerts, you name it. We're going to have loads of stuff in that stadium. Fracking. We could frack it, except I happen to know what's underneath the stadium. What is underneath the stadium are the carcasses of about 20 million salmon, if you remember, from the salmon factory. That's what's beneath the stadium. So there's no point fracking the stadium because it's fish underneath.
Assembly Member Boff.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, it's a very simple question in response to a quote from a spokesperson for West Ham United, who had stated that they would probably say no to any approach to share the Olympic Stadium for one season. The question asks you whether or not that tenant has the right of veto with regard to the use of the stadium.
Well, I think it's probably fair to say that the Premier League would have to approve any sharing, and therefore the cooperation of West Ham would be essential.
Yes, absolutely. So, but would they have the right of veto?
Well, I mean, whether we could force two Premiership clubs to share the same bed, I don't know. We could try it. No one is currently approaching us with that as a proposal.
Mr. Mayor, this isn't à la recherche du temps perdu in the original foreign. It's a simple question about.
It's not a simple question. If I may say, it's a hypothetical question about an eventuality that has not arisen. If you own a Premiership club and you want to install it in the Olympic Stadium, then by all means approach us.
It's not hypothetical, Mr. Mayor. It's not hypothetical that West Ham are the favoured tenant, and therefore, as a part of that tenancy, do they have the right of veto? That's not a hypothetical question.
It's not. But what is hypothetical is the possibility that there could be such an option. I've given you a very clear answer, which is that, as far as I know, you'd have to get the cooperation of West Ham. As you rightly point out, they don't seem very, very thrilled by the idea at the moment. If we were to be approached by a club that wanted to install themselves simultaneously in the stadium, in spite of all the timetabling difficulties that it would present, and in spite of the rules of the Premiership, which basically say that you can't, we would certainly look at the legal position, because I want to maximise the use of the stadium. Whether or not anybody wants to do that, is very far from clear. But if you know better than that, if you represent a football club that wants to be in the stadium, then make yourself known to our people.
It was the understanding that West Ham had of their role in the stadium. I don't want to drag this on. Would it help to get an answer if I feared civil unrest as a result of not securing the?
If you want to go and riot, Andrew, you can riot. If you want to go and riot, you can riot on your own, as I think the Clash once said. You can go and riot by yourself in the stadium and see what happens. I'm not going to discourage you, provided you do no damage to any property or disturb anybody.
You're aware of your answers.
My answer is, in an ideal world, obviously, we would fill the stadium every single day with different attractions and entertainments, and it will be very, very popular. It will be very well used. At the moment, as far as I can see, there are difficulties in jamming two Premiership clubs together,
But
I would be personally very attracted to that solution, but no club has so far approached us.
I absolutely understand that you would seek the consent. This is my last attempt for anyone else, and I'm sorry to keep the assembly. In the event, I absolutely understand that you would seek the consent of West Ham for any other uses.
We'd have to look at our legal position.
I absolutely understand that, because consent is what we try to get. But in the event of that consent not being given, does West Ham have the right, the power to veto any?
That would be a matter. That would be a matter. We'd have to look at the law, and we'd have to see what was practicable. At the moment, it is, I'm afraid, a hypothetical question. I think, and West Ham have one view of this hypothetical question, and you have another. But until we actually see a proposal, I think it's very difficult to give an answer.
I will dispute it another time whether or not that's a hypothetical question as to the main tenant for West Ham, whether or not they have at the moment the power of veto over who else goes.
But we have no proposal.
That is not
what the proposal
hypothetical,
is.
Mr. Mayor. That is actual.
Anyway,
I'll give in.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
The next question is about